Hello everyone, welcome to Coding with Ivan, and in this video we are going to make a file manager application for Android. So let's get started. Here as you can see I have opened a new Android project called File Explorer. So at first I'll be defining a new color for our application. So I'll go to the res folder, inside values, inside colors, and here I'll create a new color. For the color I'll be passing this color, this green color. Alright, now I can cut this color.xml and I'll go to the activity main.xml. Okay, so first of all I'll design the navigation drawer of our application. So let's get started. I'll change the root layout to drawer layout here. Alright, and the width and height will be match parent, and then I'll give this an ID. I'll call it drawer underscore layout. I'll make it fit system windows to true, and inside here I'll delete this text view and I'll add a linear layout here, and I'll set the width and height to match parent. I'll make the orientation of this linear layout to vertical, and then inside this linear layout I'm going to add a toolbar, androidx.appcompat.widget.toolbar. This one I'll set the width to match parent and the height will be attribute slash action bar size. Alright, and before getting started with this toolbar, let's quickly get rid of the default toolbar of our application. So to disable that I'll go to themes, insert this themes.xml, and from here I'll delete this dark action bar to no action bar, this one. Alright, now let's go back, and here I'll give this toolbar an ID. I'll call it toolbar. I'll give this a elevation of 4 dp. I'll set the background of this toolbar to @color slash oops, okay, so I forgot to rename this color. I'll call this green. Okay, sorry for my mistake. And then let's go back again to activity main, and here I'll set it to color slash green. Alright, now under this toolbar I'll add a new frame layout to hold the fragments that we are going to create later. So I'll create a frame layout and I'll set the width and height to match parent, and I'll give this frame layout also an ID. I'll call it fragment underscore container. Alright, so now we are going to create our navigation view, and to do that at first we need to create the navigation header. So I'll be creating a new layout file. So I'll click on this layout, right click, a new layout resource file, and I'll call it nav underscore header. Alright, so from here I'll change this root layout to linear layout, and here the height will remain, the width will remain as match parent, and the height I'll define is 176 dp, which is the default height of the navigation header that we get from the default navigation drawer view. Alright, and then I'll set this orientation to vertical. I'll also change the background to color green, and then I'll give this a padding of, let's say, 16 dp, and I'll set the gravity of this to bottom. Alright, now inside this linear layout I'm going to add a image view. I'll set the width and height to wrap content, and for the image inside here I'm going to pass the app icon, so I'll pass mipmap slash IC launcher. Alright, now under this image view I'll create a new text view where the width and height will be as wrap content, and then for the text here I'll pass the app name, or let's write file explorer. Alright, I'll change the text color to color slash white. Alright, we can see how it looks. So let's give it some padding at top, so I'll write padding top to 8 dp. Alright, and similarly we can add another text view, so I'll just copy this and paste it under here, and now for the text I'll change it to by coding with Ivan. Alright, so our navigation header is now ready. So now we will add some menus for our navigation drawer. So if you don't have a menu directory here, then you can simply create one by right clicking on the res folder, go to new Android resource directory, and from here set the resource type to menu and click on OK. That will create a new menu directory here. From there I'll right click on it and create a new menu resource file. I'll name it nav underscore menu. Alright, so now for the nav menus I'm going to create some menu here. I'll create a group and I'll set the checkable behavior to single, and inside this group I'll create some item. I'll give this item an ID. I'll call it nav underscore home. I can also add a title for this, which I'll say home, and we can also set icon for each item. So for the icon, let's create from the drawable. So I'll right click on it, create a new vector asset, and I'll search for, let's say, home. Select this one, click OK. I'll change the name to IC underscore home, and okay, let's click on next and finish. Then I'll pass @drawable slash IC home. Alright, and similarly we need two more items to show the internal storage and the SD card. Okay, so I'll copy this and paste it two more times. From here I'll change the ID to nav underscore internal, change the text to internal storage, then I'll change the ID of the next one to nav underscore card, the text will be SD card. Alright, and now we will change the icons for these two items. You can create your icons from the drawables, like I created this IC underscore home, or you can also use my ones, like I have some icons here that I created before. So I'll just use these two, the card and the folder. I'll just copy them and I'll paste them inside the drawable folder. Click on paste. Okay, factor. Alright, so now for this internal storage I'll change the icon to, let's say, folder, and for the card I'll change the icon to drawable slash card that we copied here, and I'll give the download link of these items in the description below. From there you can download all these icons. Alright, now let's create another item. So I'll go outside of this group and create a new item here. I'll set the title to, let's say, more, and inside this item I'll create a menu, and inside that I'll create an item. I'll give this an ID called nav underscore about. I'll also add a title for this. I'll say this about, and we can also add icon. Let's close this first, and for the icon let's create another icon from the drawable. So I will create a new what vector asset, and from there I'll change it. I'll search for info. Okay, so this one I'll select that. I'll rename this to IC underscore about, hit next and finish, and here I'll pass this drawable slash IC underscore about. Alright, so our menu items are now ready. We can close that and go back to the activity main.xml here, and inside here we need to create our navigation view. So I'll go outside of this linear layout, and here I'll create my navigation view, this one, and I'll set the width to wrap content, and I'll set the height to match parent. Alright, now here I'll give this navigation view an ID. I'll call this nav underscore view, and I'll set a color tint for the items icon. So I'll write item icon tint, and here I'll pass at that color green. I'll set this layout gravity, so I'll just call android colon layout underscore gravity equals, I'll pass start. Okay, and then I'll set the header layout for our navigation view. So I'll write header layout, and here I'll pass the nav header that we created. So at the rate layout slash nav header. Okay, and then we can set the menu items that we also created. So I'll write menu app colon menu, and this time I'll pass the at the rate menu slash nav menu. Alright, and I'm sorry there I have made a small mistake here. That would be layout gravity, so I'm changing it to layout underscore gravity to start. Alright, now I'll go all the way up, and here I'll add another attribute called open drawer, and I'll call start. So now you can see that is how our drawer is gonna look like. Okay, so our main activity is now ready. Now we can go to the Java file, and here I'll at first create an object for our drawer layout. So I'll write private drawer layout. I'll call this drawer layout, and I'll initialize it inside the onCreate method. So drawer layout equals find view by id r.id.drawer underscore layout that we created. Then I'll again initialize the toolbar. So toolbar equals find view by id r.id.toolbar, and I'll set this to the action bar. So I'll write set support action bar, and here I'll pass the toolbar. Alright, and as you can see it's showing an error because okay, so this toolbar class that we imported is not the exact. So I'll check this again, toolbar, and we have to use this androidx.appcompat, not this android.widget. Okay, so I'll select this androidx, and the error is now solved. Alright, now I will again initialize the navigation view. So navigation view equals find view by id r.id.drawer nav underscore view. All right, now we need to create the on navigation item selected listener for our main activity. So I'll go here and I'll write implements navigation view dot on navigation item selected listener. All right, and it is showing some error here, so I'll just click on it and click on this implement methods, hit OK. So here we have this on navigation item selected method. All right, so now I'll go under here and I'll call the navigation view dot set navigation item selected listener, and I'll pass this. Okay, now I'll create the action bar drawer toggle. I'll call this toggle equals new action bar drawer toggle, and here the first parameter is the context, which is this, and then we need to pass the drawer layout, and the third one is the toolbar, and then we need to pass two string values as the open navigation drawer and close navigation drawer. All right, so let's quickly create them. So I'll go to this strings.xml under the values folder. So I'll go here and here I'll create a new string. I'll name this to open underscore drawer, and I'll set the value to open navigation drawer. All right, and I'll create another one. This time I'll name it to close drawer, and the text will be close navigation drawer. All right, now let's go back to the main activity.java here, and here I'll pass the strings. So I'll call r.string.open drawer, and the next one is r.string.close drawer. All right, and then I'll call drawer layout dot add drawer listener, and I'll pass the toggle here, and then I'll call toggle dot sync state. So that will handle the drawer toggle. And now one thing we need to handle, that if the drawer is opened and the user presses the back button, then we should first close the drawer and then perform the on back pressed. All right, so let's quickly do that. So for this we need to go outside of the on create view, and here I'll override the on back pressed method. So I'll call on back pressed, and as you can see here is the on back pressed method, and at first we will check for the drawer state. So at first I'll check if there is any fragment opened or not. So I'll write get fragment manager dot pop backstack immediate. So we'll just pop those fragments, and then I'll check if the drawer is open or not. So I'll write if drawer layout dot is drawer open, and here we need to pass the gravity compat dot start, and if the drawer is open then we need to close that. So I'll write drawer layout dot close drawer, and here I'll again pass the gravity compat dot start. All right, and this super dot on back pressed will be called on the else block. Okay, just copy or cut this and paste it here. Okay, so now let's implement this on navigation item selected method. So here at first I'll change this return false into return true, and then I'll implement this here. So at first I'll try to get the item ID that we clicked, and then we'll check if we'll show different kind of fragments according to the item ID. Alright, so let's create a switch block here, and inside this I'll try to get the item ID. So item dot get item ID, and inside here we'll check for the IDs. So at first, if the ID is r.id.nav underscore home, then we'll show the home fragment. Alright, so let's quickly create some fragments now. So I'll go to the layout, right click on it and create a new layout resource file. I'll call this fragment underscore home. Hit enter, and inside here I'll change this constraint to linear layout, and let's, for the demo purpose, add a text view here. I'll set the width and height to, let's say, match parent and wrap content. I'll set a text here. I'll call this home fragment. I'll set the text size to 32 sp. Alright, and the gravity will be center. Alright, now let's create two more. So I'll just copy this and paste this inside the same. So I'll add Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and this time I'll change this to fragment underscore internal. Hit enter. Okay, go to this internal, and I'll change the text to internal fragment, and again I'll copy this. So Ctrl C, Ctrl V. I'll change the name to fragment underscore card. So for the card here, okay, so it's showing an error because I wrote the C as capital letter. We can't do that, so I'll quickly go to refactor. Where is it? Okay, and rename. I'll change this C to small letter. Okay, so now inside this card fragment, I'll change the text to card fragment. Alright, so our UIs are ready. We need to create 3 classes for that. So before that, I'll create here a new package. I'll call it fragments. So inside this fragments package, I'll store all the fragment classes. So I'll right click on it and create a new Java class. I'll call this home fragment. Alright, hit enter, and this home fragment class should extend the fragment, this androidx.fragment. Alright, and here I'll create a new view, create an object view, and then I'll override the onCreateView method. So I'll call onCreateView, and as you can see inside this onCreateView method, we are already returning this. So I'll just cut this, and here I'll call view equals inflator dot inflate, and here I'll pass r dot layout dot fragment underscore home, and then the next parameter is the container, and third one is false. Alright, and then we will return this view. So return view. Alright, so our home fragment class is now ready, and I'll copy these 2 more times for the other 2 fragments. So Ctrl C V, and I'll change the name to internal fragment. Hit enter, and here I'll change the layout file to r.layout.fragment underscore internal. Okay, and again I'll copy this, and this time I'll change it to card fragment. I'll click on refactor, and here I'll change the layout file to fragment underscore card. Alright, so our fragments are now ready. So let's move on to main activity.java here. So now here, if the item that we got is nav underscore home, then we will create a new instance of the home fragment. So I'll write home fragment equals new home fragment. Then I'll call get support fragment manager dot begin transaction dot replace, and here I'll call the r.id dot fragment container, and then the next parameter is the home fragment object that we created, and then I'll add dot add to backstack to null, and then dot commit semicolon. Alright, and after that we will add the break. Alright, so similarly we will do that for the other menus. So I'll just copy this and paste it 3 more times. So the second case could be the nav underscore internal, and for this case we will call the internal fragment. So internal fragment, where it is, internal fragment, create an object internal fragment, new internal fragment, and here get support fragment manager begin transaction container. Here I'll pass the internal fragment, others are same, and for the nav underscore card we'll create a card fragment. So card fragment, the object's name will be card fragment, new card fragment, and here we'll pass the card fragment object. Alright, so now for the nav underscore about, we won't show any fragment here, rather for now let's show a toast message, and later we will add a a new dialog for that. Okay, so I'll be just showing about. Okay, so after showing all of this, so if a user clicks on any of the menu, that will show these fragments, and after that we need to close the drawer. Okay, so for this I'll go outside of the switch case and call the drawer layout dot close drawer, and then I'll pass gravity compat dot start. Alright, so now let's run this on our phone and see how it goes. So as you can see, our app is now opened, and from here we can open the navigation drawer, and these are all the menus that we have got. So if I click on the home, it will show the home fragment. If I click on the internal storage, it will show the internal fragment, and for the SD card it will show the card fragment, and if I click on this about, it will show a toast called about. So another thing that I want to tell you is that when we were opening this app for the first time, it wasn't loading a fragment. Okay, so in order to show a fragment when the user opens the app for the first time, we need to define that inside our onCreate method. So let's do that quickly. So for that I'll go to the onCreate method under this toggle.sync_state, and here I'll call the get support fragment manager dot begin transaction dot replace r.id dot fragment container, and then we need to show a fragment. So by default I want to show the home fragment when the user opens the app for the first time. So I'll write new home fragment, and then I'll write dot commit. Okay, and then I want to set the nav home item to be selected. For this I'll write navigation view dot set checked item, and here I'll pass the item ID r.id dot nav underscore home. Alright, so now let's run this again. And as you can see now, by default when the app opens for the first time, it shows the home fragment, and we can go to another fragment by clicking on the items. Alright, so that's it for the video. In the next part we will be implementing all these fragments. Thank you so much for watching.